Hey guys, it's Jess, and today I will be making something out of clay and wire, to see if I can actually make it or not. I want to make this character. His name is Remor from the game Fran Bow, which I believe you can still get on Steam. You will need Sculpey, or some sort of polymer clay, tools for cutting, stabbing, morphing, and liquid Sculpey, and some sort of gloss cover, because I will be painting on it. You don't have to. And 2 types of wire. Whatever your preference is, probably something on the thin side. And some black fabric for his magical cloak. And needle and thread, which I didn't use because I'm a dupe. And last but not least, wire cutters and pliers. It's like a 2-in-1 deal, and those are the only ones I had. As of right now, I'm starting off with his limbs, which are these 2 weird squiggly things, and how I made these is I bent a piece of wire in half and then I twisted it. There's an easier way of doing it by sticking the 2 bottom posts into a, like one of those, what do you call them? Screwdrivers? Electric screwdrivers? Drills, that's the word I was looking for. And then twist it that way, but that's pretty dangerous and if you really don't know what you're doing. So just kind of twist it by hand. I might suggest using gloves. Now this is really sped up. So what I'm doing here is I've made the body of the piece of wire that I showed you, and I just twisted it again. All of it's twisted. Then I made a neck piece, and now I am just putting clay on parts where it's stuck together. Or to stick it together. Now I have tin foil and I am molding the head. Sorry it's kind of fast. I didn't want to waste too much time. But I used tin foil to mold out the shape of the head so I didn't waste too much clay. And then I rolled out a piece of clay, all nice and flat. But like I was saying with the body is I just twisted it. Here I'm making a opening for the head, making sure it fits. And now I'm into sculpting. But with the body, basically what you need to do is just twist it and shape like a stick figure, and then just kind of add clay where you want the joints to connect. And on the bottom of it, of the actual sculpture, I put clay to make sure it was weighted. And in the end, I needed to add a piece of cardboard because that bottom clay just wasn't enough for me to hold him down properly, which was okay because, you know, it made for a base. Right here, I am making his horns. He's got 2 sets of horns, and as you could see, I was putting them next to each other just to see if they were the correct size, or matching sizes. Now I'm making the whittle tiny horns, which, by the way, were a huge pain in the butt because it kept messing them up, and I just cut the whole thing. Oh, there you can see the piece of cardboard. I put popsicle sticks underneath it because I thought it would be, you know, more stable. And there's some sandpaper. I don't know why I did that with my hands, just like, and now I'm painting it. I think. No, I think I'm brushing off the dust, which, by the way, be super careful. Oh, yep, there's the paint. That's another supply you'll need. So, as you can see here, now I'm painting it. The only reason why I was sanding the project is just to make it look a little bit more smooth. Oh, there's my camera doing the weird thing. I don't know if you guys saw a little bit before. Oh, and there's my head. That, I was sorry, my camera was doing something weird. I figured out what the problem was. So I'm sorry, you're just gonna have to deal with it for now. There's no way I can go back in time and do this. But yeah, I was sanding down my project to figure out, or to make it look a little bit smooth, and now I'm painting it. The painting was probably the most simple part, seeing as, you know, it's just black, red, and white, and you don't have to paint it white. I just wanted to give it a more solid color. as you can see right now, he is kind of almost mostly finished. I just have the background picture as a reference. It was kind of hard to do his horns with a paintbrush, which I might go in later with like a permanent marker or whatever, because he's kind of like a bobblehead now too. Stop moving. Because like in there his horns are like drawn on like he's been made like a kid almost. So I tried to incorporate that, but you know, not very good at paint. Hence why the series is called what it is. If I've decided on a name by now. So as of right now, since I've got the painting done and the body form, which I painted, I don't know if I mentioned that. Since he's all painted now, what I'm going to do is make the cloak part of him. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with his hands yet, if I'm going to give him hands or not. So I just kind of left it like that for right now. As for like the horns and stuff like that, and a little bit more detail, like for his mouth, because it's not a very great paint job. I know that my art is like the sun, it's good from afar. But I'll probably take like a Sharpie or like a permanent marker or something like that to fill in to make it look a little bit more like that, because it does look like he was drawn. So it's kind of hard for me to do that since I'm not very talented at all. Yeah, let's get started. Alright, now that you can see that I am horribly and very quickly sketching my little dress design out, basically what I did is I laid him down after I baked him. Just so you know, you should always follow your baking instructions of your clay. I am sorry I should have mentioned that sooner. Well, at least now you know. But I made a very crude pattern of his dress. And then I just placed it over top of a folded piece of fabric so I get two sides, and am just cutting it out as quickly as I can. At this point, it had been a couple of hours because I had to wait for my oven to pre-bake preheat. Maybe pre-bake? I don't know. I had to wait for it to warm up, and since we have an electric one, it took forever. And here is where I made my huge mistake. Instead of sewing it, I decided to use hot glue instead. I was like, oh, that's gonna be so much easier. And don't be like me, kids. Don't touch hot glue. It is hot. I burned myself so many times by doing this. This is a horrible idea. I don't know why. And then like halfway through, I realized that it was not a good idea. So I was like, oh, I'll just take it off and just sew it. But yeah, that didn't work. So, and see, like, I'm desperately, struggling to get it to stick onto it. Which, honestly, I wish I would have just ripped it off and maybe just have cut off the excess glue or just cut new pieces. That was a little piece of styrofoam. By the way, you guys are held up by, like, a block of styrofoam and the top of a soap bottle, so if you ever see like a white square in the corner, that's why. See, this is me attempting to have like nice hem seams, and this part burned so bad because I had to touch the glue while it was hot. See, burned myself, and I just completely cut it out because I burned myself so many times, and I couldn't. So I finally got it to somewhat fix, and I just shredded up the bottom. Now there's me trying to make it look nice, trying to figure it out. I don't know why I didn't cut that part out. Oh well. But this is my Remor figure. I'm actually really, really happy with it. It looks pretty crude, but I think that kind of adds to the charm. You can pose his arms, and I never did make him hands. I just didn't think it was necessary. I'm sure later on, maybe later in life or something, I'll remake him and make him look a little bit more accurate to the character. Now that he's finished, let me say some wishes I guess I would have done. I added 2 little dots inside of his eyes. I don't know if I showed that in painting. I wish I would have sculpted his face a little bit thinner because I made him a little bit of a chunky skull. I think that's me pointing out of that I redid his teeth and put the thing in his eye. But, you know, the horns are a little bit off, that, and they kind of got smushed in the baking process because I did not hold his head up while I put him in the oven. Best thing to do for that when you put something in the oven that has more depth or softer pieces, to put some sort of tin foil or something that's able to be put in the oven to kind of lift it off, because the horns got a little smushed. And I don't know if you can tell, I added a little scarf piece, but you can't really tell, I guess, because it's black on black, just to cover up the mistakes I made at his neck, because I didn't sew it. I really, really wish I would have just sewn this thing on him. And maybe have made hands, because he does have hands. Other than that, you know, I'm super happy with it. So thank you for watching it. I really, really had fun with it. Please let me know if you want me to continue this. Leave all the suggestions down below. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter and all of my other social medias. And with that, have a wonderful day. Bye, guys!